Good. Who's nervous for college? It's okay. You all can raise your hand. Parents, guardians, you're allowed to raise your hand too. How many of you are really excited about college? Okay. How many of you are nervous and excited about the exact same things? Double hands. A few of you. If you wouldn't mind going ahead, what are you all most excited about? And it can be leaving home. That's probably the most common answer. What's the number one thing you're excited about? Go ahead, just yell it out. The future. Sports. What are people nervous about? Passing. Yep. Probably getting into college. Class sizes. Too big, too small. Yep. Because when they're too small, you feel like you're a little bit put on the spot. When they're too big, you kind of feel like you're drowning a little bit. Yep. How many of you are worried about the cost of attendance? Yeah, a couple hands went up. We're going to talk about all of those things. To back up kind of a football field, my name is Amanda Johnson. I'm the Associate Director of First Year Recruitment. I actually work with all of our Boulder Valley School District schools. So you probably will see me as I travel our schools this fall. And hopefully, even those of you who are in middle school, I'm going to tell you how to successfully navigate middle school and how it can help you as you do navigate the application process. I do try to make this as engaging as possible. So if you have a question like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait, I've got to ask it now, feel free to raise your hand. I am happy to interact with you all as you have those questions. But I've been doing this for 14 years. I started out as a small Division I, 4,000 student private university called Valparaiso University in Indiana. And then I went to a College of Natural Resources University in northern Wisconsin, and now I'm here at Boulder. The first thing I want to remind you all is just make sure you're taking track, or staying on track. I'm going to give you some tips. How many of you like Excel spreadsheets? I love Excel spreadsheets. Oh, you're all going to love Excel spreadsheets, don't you worry. Let's talk a little bit about what you should be doing in high school. And I know you've likely heard this a few times. This is going to sound silly, but you really just need to graduate from high school. Something we often get asked is, okay, if I take this class instead of this class, am I going to better my chances of admissions? Yes and no. This sounds silly, and I know I just heard the presenter say it. Take some challenging classes, but don't feel like you have to take all 5 AP honors courses in a given year, in a given semester. We want you to enjoy high school. I know that sounds silly, but we want you to have fun. We want you to take sports classes. We want you to take art. We want you to take music classes. But we also want you to, of course, graduate. So, for example, say you're interested in engineering. Yes, you should probably take some math. You should probably take some science courses. Hopefully you like math and science courses. That is one of the things that we'll see on a college application. And we often wonder, okay, a student has applied engineering, but they have C's in their math classes. I wonder if they know they're actually going to take a lot of math classes in college. We want a student to be successful. At the end of the day, that's what college is all about, is you being successful. How many of you know exactly what you want to major in college? Okay, I see a few hands, not many. How many of you are deciding between like 2 or 3 different things? Okay, a few more hands came up. How many of you have no idea what you want to be when you grow up? And parents, you can participate. How many of you have no idea what you want to be when you grow up? Okay, there's some individuals out there, some blank faces. It's okay not to know. What we want you to do is we want you to find the thing that makes you excited. And sometimes you don't even know what it is. We have over 120 different majors for students, and we're just CU Boulder. Some universities have 200 different majors. So when we talk about what classes you should be taking in high school, start thinking about the classes you enjoy taking. So if you really enjoy a history class, keep taking those history courses. If you really enjoy English and creative writing, take those courses. Again, don't feel like you have to take every single AP or honors courses. That's great. And so I know some school counselors are going to tell you, oh, you should take tons of AP honors courses. If you can be successful, take them. If you know that it's going to be a challenge because you're also involved in basketball, You also have obligations to your family. You have a part-time job, and you're not sure that you can get A's in all of those AP courses and balance everything. Really think about if you want to be taking those AP courses. It is okay to get A's in regular level courses. Any questions about courses before I move on? Okay. I do not expect you to read all of these questions. In fact, I can send an email with all of these, but as you're starting to choose which university you're going to go to, these are some of the different questions you're going to want to ask yourself. Like, what are the admissions requirements? What are the deadlines? When we talk about financial aid, have a real conversation with your family and say, how much can we pay for college? I'll be fully transparent. I did not have that question, and my top choice was way outside of my parents' price range. And so it's like trying on a dress that you can't afford and having to tell your student, you can't go there. And when they tell you they fell in love with the university, that's a really hard conversation to have. So have those conversations early. We can pay $60,000 for college. We can pay $120,000 for college. We can pay $30 for college. Find out what you as a family can afford for colleges. Now, that shouldn't minimize the options you apply to, but just something you want you and your student to be aware of. Talking about residential life, we just talked about this. CU is a hot 30 minutes away. We are nice and close. Students within a 30-mile radius can live at home if they would like. Otherwise, we would love to have them live on campus their freshman year. Get involved in the student organizations. Get involved in going to sporting events. If you think about it, there's been a couple basketball games that have been like at 8 o'clock p.m., and so they go until 10, so you're maybe not getting home until like 10:30, 11, because the games are going so late. Are you and your family okay with you driving that late at night? If it's snowing, are you okay with having your student drive to campus? Have those types of conversations. We would love for your students to live on campus. I very am supportive of freshmen living on campus, even our local students, because these are the friendships, the relationships they're going to build. Now, when we talk about universities across the country, it's important to find out, you might get homesick. Okay, what happens if you go to Duke and you're all the way in North Carolina? How many times can you fly home? Can you fly home when your student's homesick? There's going to be about 8 flights. If your student has to fly home, there's 8 times that they will fly home at the beginning of the school year, Thanksgiving break, maybe winter break, maybe spring break, and at the end of the school year. That's 8 flights. And depending on how expensive those flights are, that could be a couple grand each school year on just flights alone. Then we talk about airport parking. We talk about how easy is it to get to and from? Do they have a vehicle there? So think about all of those things when we talk about the cost of attendance. Let's talk about a few other things. I mentioned before, I love Excel spreadsheets. Where are my high school seniors? Are there any in this room? No? Any high school juniors? Where are my sophomores, freshmen, and middle schoolers? Okay, middle schoolers, you got a little bit of time, okay? For everyone else, I would start creating an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of everything. This will make your life so much easier. So what it has each of the different colleges in the top row, and then a column for all these different things, like what is the university's name? Okay, CU Boulder. When is their application deadline? November 15th. When does the application open? August 1st. Do they require a letter of recommendation? Yes. So you can start keeping track of where you're at in this process. Okay. It's super helpful, highly recommend it. I also have a template that I've created, so I'm happy to share that with you all as well. All right, we're getting ready to apply. How many of you know what the Common App is? I know the young lady before me just mentioned it. The Common Application is one application. It allows you to apply to 20 different universities. Hopefully you are not applying to more than 20 universities. 20 universities is a lot, my friends. I recommend to students to have anywhere around 10 to 15, because if you think about it, every single university you apply to, they're going to call you. I know your head's shaking. You're like, mm-mm. They're going to call you. They're going to email you. They're going to text you. They're going to send your parents emails. All of these different things. So the Common Application allows you to apply to 20 different universities. If you plan to apply to more than 20, you'll find out what universities have their own applications, so you can apply there. But one application really helps. So let's talk a little bit more about it. So you're going to add the different universities, you're going to send each of the different materials, you're going to complete the application and all of that. This is what the Common Application looks like. It's going to ask you to have your given name, middle name. It's going to ask you tons of information about yourself. Tip number 1 is do not use your school email address on your Common Application or any college applications. And the reason why is because high schools have really good spam filters. So for example, how many of you go to like Peak to Peak High School? Okay, good chunk of you. I have a really hard time emailing you because your spam filter at your school thinks I'm spam. Hi, real human, doesn't matter. Because once we have tried to send you a mass email, it will catch our email, put us into spam, and it's really hard to get out of there. So create a college-friendly email address that you and your parent and guardian can share. It could literally be amandajohnsoncollege@gmail.com with the password 456school ! Smiley face. That is for the real, not my password, not my email address either, but create a super easy college. That way you can use it on every single application, and that way within Gmail, Outlook, whatever you're using, you have a folder for CU Boulder, Purdue, Duke, Texas A&M, Mines, but each university has their own folder so you can navigate as you get communications from each of the different universities. So don't use your school email address. The other thing that it says on the Common App, all the information that you put into the Common Application tab goes to every university. This includes your essay. So in your essay, please do not write, I'm really excited to attend Ball State in Indiana. It's my #1 choice. Because every university you send the Common App to is going to get that same essay, and we're all going to be like, cool, good for Ball State. We've had students do it all the time. They write, again, my favorite choice is so-and-so university. Other universities get it, and we won't ding you for it, but it just doesn't look great. When we talk about the story, you're telling the story about you, attention to detail is something that we look for. So just keep in mind that the Common Application tab, so that includes your essay, and that includes your transcript, all that information goes to all of your other universities. Each college has its own tab, and so I know this is really, really small for you, but it shows you, like the Colorado State University has a tab, CU Boulder has a tab, School of Mines has a tab, and this is where we each might have an additional essay question, a short answer. Fun fact for CU Boulder, we have one short answer question. It's what do you want to major in and why? We keep it super, super simple. We ask you a few different questions for you to let us know about yourself, but some universities, just a heads up, have 2, 3, 4 short answer questions. And sometimes we talked about some things are optional. I wouldn't leave anything to chance. If it says optional, still do it. Find time to still do it. Those of you who are juniors in the room, if you're looking for something to do in preparation for college, start working on that essay now. Y'all, we're not looking for a Nobel Prize winning essay. You can have some spelling errors, you can have some typos, maybe you have someone proofread it, but it doesn't have to be the world's best on how to become an astronaut. It can be whatever you want it to be. Talk about you. That's what's going to make the difference. is talking about you, what your passions are. And I know the individual just before me talked about saying, maybe being transparent. At CU, we don't offer interviews. We don't require interviews. So what is the best way for you to tell me about the D that you got freshman year? It's got to be in your application. So my middle schoolers, we do look at freshman grades. So you do not want any D's or F's freshman year. Otherwise, you're going to need to retake those classes, or you're going to need to provide a really strong explanation about why you have those grades. Because we look at every single grade on your transcript. Freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year. So, as you may have noticed, I didn't say senior year. I don't see senior grades when I go to make an admissions decision. So the juniors who are sitting in the front row, the sophomores sitting right behind you, I will only see freshman, sophomore, and junior year grades. And that is pretty common at every university. So if you're like, senior year is really when I need to focus. Senior year is too late. Because if you think about it, you're going to apply in what, October? That's probably the middle first semester of senior year. So I will not see that transcript. So you're going to be admissions decisioned based on your freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So let's talk about what does an application look like. The application, we just kind of talked about the common application. Activities, I love the individual before me talked about that it's not just about music, art. Those things absolutely keep those on there. Also talk about leadership. How many of you go to a school that requires service hours or volunteer hours? Okay. Not every high school requires a student to have volunteer or service hours. So if it's built into your school, you should include it. It's easy because not all students have that opportunity. And it says a lot about you to have those volunteer, to have those service hours. I think also a lot of students and families, when I say talk about leadership opportunities, they think, captain of the baseball team, first chair in the music ensemble. That's not what we look for those, yes. But leadership can also be, I'm a leader in my biology class because I encourage other students to participate. I show up early. I ask others if they need help. Leadership is absolutely something that every university looks for. And again, it does not have to have a title. So you get 10 different activities on the common application. So start thinking about what are the 10 most important things to you. It can be family. It can be a part-time job. Maybe you have your own startup business that's even just in its infancy stages. Maybe you do play sports. Maybe you are a musician. Maybe you are an artist. Put all those different things on there because everything that you've done says something about you. We've talked a little bit about the essay and the short answer. Just be yourself. But also, again, provide that advocacy. We talked about it before. You are going to notice on my application, I have a C freshman year in my math class. But you'll notice I've gotten A's in every math class since. Don't rely on the university to know that, to see that. We make mistakes just like everyone else. So provide that explanation. It could also be, I had COVID. I was sick. I changed high schools. We had virtual online classes. I'm not great in virtual online courses. It could also be, I plan on majoring in business and I really don't like my history classes. That's okay. You don't have to like every single class that you're in. Spanish, yeah. That is a popular one for students. And so, yeah, just talk about it. That way, too, when we look at your transcript, we don't have to try to figure out what's going on. We can look back in that additional information and we can see, oh, the student just doesn't really enjoy Spanish classes. They really try. They've had a tutor. They spend extra time at home, and it's just not an area they're interested in. Cool. As long as you're not interested in majoring in Spanish, we're okay. So it's okay to say those types of things as you navigate the application. We talked about that application fee. I was telling Kyla, where are you at? Is she in here? We were talking about how the application can be super expensive. $65. But there is a free application week in for the state of Colorado. Actually, there you go. It was supposed to say TBD because they have not been announced yet. But the dates are coming. You can wait for the free application week. This will allow you to apply to CU Boulder. I believe Mines is on there, Northern Colorado, a variety of different Colorado universities for free. You can wait until that week in Colorado. High school transcript, you can send it yourself. You don't have to wait for your high school to send it. If you have any dual credits or concurrent enrollments at a different, like if you're taking classes at Front Range, you can send those as well. Test scores. How many of you are great test takers? Anyone? Oh, I got one hand. You're a really good test taker? I am not a good test taker. So for those of you who are really good test takers, I'm really proud of you. ACT and SAT, you don't have to be perfect. If you get a perfect 1600, good for you. At CU, we are test optional. We do not need ACT or SAT scores for admissions nor scholarship. So take the ACT, SAT. Have you already taken the ACT, SAT once? It happened earlier this month? Okay. For those of you who have taken it, great. Contemplate if you want to take it again. It is completely up to you. We do not need, like I said, I'm going to stress this because I have students who will say, okay, I got a 1500, should I send it? If it enhances your academic profile, sure, send it. So for example, if you have a 3.1 GPA, but you've got a 15 SAT or a 1500 SAT, yes, send it. If you have a 4.0 or higher, what is the score you think that you need to have to send it to increase your academic profile? 1600, perfect. Because your GPA is already over a 4.0. So how do you make a 4.0 more impressive? Perfect on the ACT or SAT. And fun fact, a test score does not really, in our opinion, it does not correlate to the work, the 4 years you've put into a transcript. They are not equal. That's why we take the GPA on your transcript, the grades on your transcript, the courses on your transcript more into consideration than those test scores. Because they talk about your journey, which is the same as college. You're on a journey. So ACT, SAT, completely optional. Letter of recommendation. It can almost be anyone but your parent. Hopefully your parents say wonderful things about you, but it can be your school counselor, it can be your favorite teacher, it can be your coach, it can be your band director, it can be anyone. We require one, we will accept 3. It can be anyone. Someone who can say, hey, they show up early, they turn their homework in on time. Hey, they had this really hard semester, and you may notice on your transcript, I want to advocate for them. Find those people. Those are people you want in your corner. And last but not least, again, the list of activities that you do. Those are the things that are really important. I'm going to pause here. That was a lot of information, hopefully good information. What questions do we have? Yeah?
You said that you only see stuff from sophomore, junior year. I'm trying to pursue that IB diploma. So
Nice.
Are you going to see that on my application?
We will. Yes. Yep. So we will also see your senior year classes in your class schedule, and also along with any IB or seal of dual literacy, we will see those different things on your application. You can add those.
But like not the scores.
Oh, good question. Yeah, we will not see AP IB scores. Those will help you when it actually comes to registering for courses. But again, knowing some students are not the best test takers, that's why we really focus on that GPA, that score that you got in the class. What that also means is, say you got an A in the class, but you're like, I'm not a great test taker. I don't want to get a 3, 2, or a 1 because I know those are probably not going to transfer to my universities. Don't feel that you have to take those AP score, those AP tests. It's completely up to you. Does that make sense? Yeah, great question. Yeah.
Do you get like weighted or unweighted GPA?
Great question. We look at whichever is higher. So weighted or unweighted, most of the time that is going to be your weighted GPA. And so your weighted GPA, again, can be over that 4.0. Good questions. Any other questions? Yeah.
2 questions.
Yeah.
One, if you are in the college before graduation BBSD program and you have stuff on your high school transcript, but it is from Front Range College, do you need to send in a duplicate Front Range? Or does the BBSD transcript that has it on there that shows it's from Front Range, is that enough?
That is not. So what you'll do for admissions purposes is that Boulder Valley School District transcript will be just fine. But for it to count and for us to review it for college credits, you'll send that once your student has actually chosen to attend CU.
Okay.
And we pay, and just so you all know, each university is also different when it comes to tuition costs. At CU, 18 or less credits is 1 tuition price. So where those benefits come in for taking college credits is a student could graduate early or they could take less credits, but tuition will still stay the same, just full transparency.
Okay, so like I think he'll enter in with like 24 credits.
Awesome, good. So what will traditionally happen is either take a lighter course schedule or we have the opportunity to graduate early.
Okay, and then my second question is if they're in the engineering program,
Yeah.
and isn't there something like that's an automatic something, there's something
Oh, great
in
question.
CU?
Yep, so at CU, all of our programs are direct admission. So when you apply to CU, whether you apply for education, business, history, CMCI, engineering, business, I probably mentioned those twice, if you are admitted into those programs, you will start taking those courses as early as freshman year. So I'm glad that you asked that because there's this misconception that when you apply to a university, and again, each university is different. So at Colorado, when you apply to aerospace engineering, your application is reviewed for aerospace engineering, not general acceptance to CU, aerospace engineering. And so then if you're admitted, you will start taking those courses. Some universities, you can put like finance, but they're going to generalize their process and just say, hey, congratulations, you've been accepted to Joe Schmo University. And then you will identify a major after your freshman year. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, so does he need to specify which engineering track?
So great question. So engineering, business, and arts and science have open options. Say your student doesn't know what they want within business. They're like, I don't know the difference between finance and marketing. I don't know the difference between civil engineering, mechanical engineering. I just know that I like playing with Lincoln Logs and Legos. I know I want engineering. I'm really good at math. I'm really good at science. They can put open option if they don't have a specialty in mind. Same again with arts and science. Says your student says, I don't know what I want to major in. I just know I want arts and science. Arts and science open option. Great questions. I saw a hand raised over there. Yes?
Do you guys see grades from like innovation or CTC classes like college?
We do.
Classes?
Yep. And you can easily write them on the application as well. Great question. Any other questions? All right, we are in the home stretch here, my friends. So again, the free application days, please don't forget about those. You can wait. You will get your application completely ready. Fill out the activities, fill out the essays, fill out the short answers. Just don't hit submit until those free application days. But they can do everything in advance. That way also, when it's the free application week, there's only 3 days. So don't be working on the application those 3 days. You should be hitting submit during those 3 days. Because when the application closes, when the free window closes, it does not reopen. You cannot email me and say, Amanda, I was working on my application on the free days. I just didn't hit submit. I'm going to ask you for $65. So make sure you hit submit on those days. I think, is that it? Oh. So again, November 15th is our application day. January 15th is the second of our days. Do not miss, exclamation mark, all caps, do not miss January 15th. And the reason why is we talked about this in the last session. We will admit more students November 15th and January 15th than students who apply after January 15th. Because programs will likely be at capacity. So we can't admit any new students into those programs because we don't have space. We have over 50,000 students that will apply to Colorado. Our university alone, 50,000. Don't miss those deadlines because you also want scholarship consideration. Yes, friend?
Will the free application days for Colorado be before, like, the early action deadline?
Yep. It's usually around October, mid-October. So yes, you can easily still get everything done. It gives you about a month to get everything done by submitting it by that day. Great question. Again, we talked about this. These are all the different things that we look at when we go to make an admissions decision. Are you on track to graduate? Are you taking any AP honors courses? Again, you don't have to take them all. You can just take some. GPA. If any of you are sitting in this room, I love my middle schoolers. I want you to think about this. When you go to high school, you've got a 4.0 GPA. You don't have a 0. You've got a 4.0 GPA. Let's try to keep it at a 4.0 GPA, okay? For my high schoolers already in this room, we've talked about this. Freshman, sophomore, junior year. Those are the grades I'm going to see. I'm also going to see senior year, so you can't completely like disappear. Senior year, you have to still take classes. You still have to graduate. But again, scholarships and admissions are going to be determined based on freshman, sophomore, junior year. We are going to see senior year schedules. Grade trend, it is okay. A lot of students will have this weird J type situation where freshman year, it's a little scary to go to high school. You're not quite sure. You're still meeting your friend group. Freshman year, some students get those B's, C's, hopefully no D's and F's. But then they start crushing it. They're doing a fantastic job. Straight A's, A's, B's. We also have students who do this kind of like U-shaped situation because now they're taking AP and honors courses, which are challenging. So maybe they're getting some B's and C's. That is okay. You are human. You are not robots. Test scores if you want. Strength of current schedule, we talked about that senior year. Volunteering, leadership, we talked about again. You don't have to be the captain of the baseball team. You can still be a leader without having that captain title. Talents and then extenuating circumstances. Again, explain the D's, F's if you have them, C's if you feel like it. Say you're a straight A student and there is that B that just bothers you because you just didn't get along with the teacher. Explain it. That's okay. You don't have to like every single teacher you have. You just have to try your hardest, and that's all we're asking for. This is our quote at CU. It's not about what you want to do, where you want to live, or what you want to accomplish. It's about who you want to be. Those are the important things. That's what we want to take away. There is a college for every single one of you. We will help you find it the whole entire way. I think that's it. Yeah. Any questions? Oh, here we go. Yes, thank you. Any questions, things I missed? Hopefully that was really beneficial, eye-opening. Hopefully some anxiety has been released. Again, there is the right university for every single one of you. And hopefully, I'm biased, I hope it's at CU. But if it's not at CU, it's okay to start somewhere else. We have students, I have a student right now I'm working with, and they just finished their first year at Arizona State because they thought they wanted to go out of state. Now they're homesick. They want to come to CU Boulder. We will happily take them. I don't know about you all, but how many of you want to go to a Colorado university? Okay. How many of you want to get as far from Colorado as possible? All right. Oh, I see. You can admit it. It's okay. It's okay. Whether you want to go in-state or out of state, apply to the universities. Don't apply to just one. Apply to 10, maybe 5, no more than 20. We talked about that. We want you to be successful. That's the most important thing. You all are more than welcome to contact me. My face is right on our admissions website. Don't hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer whatever questions we didn't get to, and especially as you start navigating the application process or as we start choosing our classes for high school, let me know. I'm happy to help, okay? Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Are we taking a break or we?
Yeah, let's take a quick one more quick break before our last presentation so people can be sitting back down